tourney. And then, like this week we had like 2 high school tournaments, one on Friday and then one on Saturday.
I had events.
I think we had 4 this week.
Tuesday through, 4 this week, plus your clinic was 5.
Yeah, which is absolutely ridiculous. What's up, everybody? Reporting live. Not really live because you're watching it, and it's podcast, but we're in the Spike House. And join with me today, you can't see him yet, but you will, is, to my new knowledge, has built the world's greatest in number, in just community, like togetherness, and just in terms of Roundnet love in general. He's created it pretty much from the get-go. I'll get more into it. But joining us today on the HTR couch is none other than Taylor Sanford.
Thank you very much, Preston. It is so nice to be here with you today.
I'm happy to have you and happy to be in your house, in your basement, doing Spike House things, keeping you up till late at night playing sports and whatnot.
It's already been more fun than I could have thought.
Yeah, well, week 1 done. You haven't kicked us out yet.
Close. We got close one night.
Yeah.
But if anyone would have gone, it probably would have been me, not you guys. So I would have been out of here.
Yeah, I love it. But Taylor, I've met you before, but we've actually never really had the chance to like sit down and talk and like talk about just everything. So I'm super excited for today because honestly, for me, I've been in your house. I feel like I should probably know you well. So it's time for me to get to know you.
Good.
But also for the world to know you, because for me, coming to Utah, I knew it was about. I heard, I guess I should say, especially from you, because you like to talk up your Utah,
I don't say
area.
A lot, do I? Do I brag about Utah?
It's not you brag, but you just hear it, through the Roundnet community.
It's fine. I brag all the time.
You do. But it's honestly super, super sweet. And since I've been here, we had a clinic with 40 people that filled up within like a week.
Yeah.
Everyone here, and we met people. Somebody pulled up in the parking lot the other day and was like, "Do you know Justin Yellingford?" And I was like, "Yeah, like, of course we know Justin." And they're, "Oh, spike ball, cool." Just being around it all. It's just infectious, and I love it. And it reminds me, honestly, kind of like what Europe has. Where it's still that new, exciting, fun, just everybody's excited to be there.
Right.
Whereas I feel like a lot of, the vibes you get from tournaments nowadays are not that. The whole entire Utah scene has that. So for me, I'm really trying to just get your story out there. So questions wise are obviously going to be around, Utah Roundnet. But more curiously, did you get into Roundnet? What brought you to Roundnet initially, I guess?
So I started playing in 2012. I got the first generation set. I think I saw it in like...
Beats me by years.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I'm really quite an OG, but just never got into the competitive scene. So I played in my backyard, at barbecues, on camping trips. I'd always take my set and I would just teach friends and family, but just people who were new to the game how to play, and never had a real competitive person to play against.
Right.
And so
you pretty much just kicked everyone's butt.
Yeah, but not that I was great, but they were all brand new to the game. And I grew up playing sports. I played hockey was my primary sport, but just played everything under the sun. And finally got to the point in the summer of 2018, we went on a trip down to St. George, played with some friends on the beach at a lake there, and decided, I am tired of this. I'm going to start a league and play competitively. So that summer, I worked with the local city that I live in, and worked with them on starting a league and used the Spikeball app, kind of got some attention through it. We had, I think, 14 or 18 teams for our first league, which was, solid.
That's a league like once
just
a week.
Like a weekly league. Because at that point, that's what I knew. All my sports were weekly leagues. Once I got into it, realized that Roundnet is really more of a tournament-based community for the most part. So after I did this league, and it was good. There were some hiccups working with the local Parks and Rec department, but decided, okay, I'm going to do this on my own now. And right at that time, Spikeball had come out with their recognized Roundnet organizations. So I did everything I could to just go gung-ho. I'm not going to half-ass anything I do. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to invest into this. I'm going to buy all the sets, everything I need to do to run a great tournament. So the fall of 2018, I ran 3 series here in Utah. So the 3 major universities, Utah State University, University of Utah, and BYU. ran a tournament at each of those places, and then we did kind of an invitational. So the top 3 teams from each one, we did a championship tournament. Anyway, so that's kind of how we got started, and it grew so fast. And at the time, I thought, it's might be a pipe dream, but this would be awesome to have as a career. Right. I mean sports are my life, and I'm in business. Like, I've done business stuff and project management, but like they're not enjoyable. It's not a terrible job, but it's not enjoyable. And so this was kind of like, all right, this is my last hurrah. I've got a wife and kids. I can't really go back to school and go get a whole different degree. But I thought, I'm gonna build this up, and I'm gonna do everything I can. Like I said, I have a marketing background, and so just kind of went at it. And last year hosted 24 tournaments.
Jeez.
And I went into it thinking I'm going to do 10, 6 main ones, and then 4 like high school ones, and then it just kept growing and
people demanding
blew up. Yeah.
Well, it's funny when we were sitting here the other day. You mentioned how Parks and Rec contacted you to run tournaments, because for me, running a Roundnet tournament in general is a pretty unknown entity. It's like I feel like it's just kind of on your own. It's like if you want to run it, you have to contact Parks and Rec, you have to do all this stuff.
Right.
But that's kind of what sparked my interest, and why I really wanted you on here is for everyone to hear just how crazy it is in Utah, because they contact you to say, hey, can you please run tournaments kind of thing.
And then I had another one 2 days later.
Right. And then, exactly. Yeah. So for me, it's crazy. Just to even think, you said you started playing 2012. I mean, I started playing in, 2015, and there were already tournaments with 80-ish people,
Right.
And then we just had this one this weekend, which is not a tour stop, but it had 113 teams or whatever, which is just crazy. But I really want to get kind of out there in terms of just what helps to grow a tournament. I mean, was it strictly just your passion? I mean, was there marketing tips that you're like, I know X, Y, Z will work? But I honestly think, obviously not to the same extent, because I think Utah Roundnet is the gold standard at this point in terms of community, but just what got it to be so big? I mean, was it strictly you? Was it, maybe just the luck of the draw, or what?
There's a few aspects to it. Obviously, I mean, I'll say that, my passion, my dedication, and then just some of my just knowledge of marketing definitely helps. But there's some other things that, Utah did have. We had a core base, Taylor Church, had a good base down there in Provo.
Like Spencer and whatnot.
Yeah, they had run like 1 or 2 or maybe 2 or 3 tournaments a year, kind of getting between 20 and 30 teams at those. And so there was a good base, which was nice to kind of get in on. That was one thing when I did start out, kind of worked with Church to make sure that he didn't feel like I was stepping on his toes. And once he realized I could throw a tournament and he trusted me, he's like, I don't even want to work on growing it. I want I want the community to grow, but he wants to practice on and work on him.
Right. He wants to play. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was happy for me to kind of take it over. And then the other thing is, in Utah, geography plays a big key in it, because about 90% of the population is within about an hour and a half drive of each other. So that definitely helps. I know there's a lot of organizations that reach out to me. Seems like on a weekly basis. Got someone hitting me up for some advice. And question I get a lot is, well, how do you keep costs down? Because we have to travel and we have to go stay somewhere, and how do we get all the equipment there? Some places, they've either got to fly or it's like a 6-hour drive.
Yeah.
And they can't be doing that every week. Like I'm running a tournament here every week.
Right.
Sometimes we run down in St. George, which is 4 hours away in southern Utah. Where
we were just there. Shout out to Ashton.
There we go, Ashton. But at that point, usually we're doing it when it's cold up here in Salt Lake. And so people are happy to drive down there, get in some warmer weather in the late fall, early spring.
And then I think another thing you tapped into, which again, I mean, it just blows my mind every single time I think about it and talk about it.
Right.
But the high school scene.
Yeah.
I know back home, like 2 years ago, I kind of tried to get a high school scene started. And I went to like my local high schools, 2 of them, and did clinics and did whatever. And we had a league, and it was cool. And like everyone kind of enjoyed it. But to the degree you've done it with, I mean, has it just been like you're running normal tournaments and you just say high school kids, or have you gone in like taught to them, because I think that's, I mean, I know Spikeball, the company, that's a big thing they're trying to tap into.
Right.
And I know for a lot of people, I mean, in terms of attendance, I mean, every high school, every area has a high school near.
Right.
And if you can get, 50 teams from high school to sign up for your tournament, like that's huge. But I mean, how did you break into that arena of, just humans?
Yeah. So I quickly realized, even just, after that first half a year, that high school needed to be my focus. The future of the sport is high school. You're never going to get, not even just like as people grow into it, but for Roundnet to be more of someone's primary sport, they've got to choose that early in life. Otherwise, you're going to get these high school kids who, they're playing baseball, basketball, soccer. Then they, maybe if they're good enough to play college, they'll do that. But then someone's not going to look at Roundnet seriously until all the other options are gone. It's like, oh, you know what? All right, I'm in college. I can't play any other competitive sports. Sure, Roundnet, Spikeball, that looks like a cool game. Or, an adult Saturday warrior dad thinks, oh man, what can I do to kind of get away from the wife and kids, get some exercise? Spikeball looks fun. But until a high school player tells his soccer coach, hey, I'm going to play soccer, but if there's a Spikeball tournament, Spikeball comes first.
Yeah.
We're just not going to hit that next level. And we had Swervin, our top high school team here in Utah. That's what they told their soccer coach,
really,
which is just awesome to hear. But I mean, as far as organizing it goes, so I realized, early on I needed to focus on it. So we ran some tournaments, and they started small in the spring of 2019. But all of our major tournaments, if I saw a kid who looked like he was in high school, I'd take his name down, I'd ask what school he goes to, and then I'd reach out to him afterwards and say, okay, you want to be my captain from this high school.
Yeah.
So I just grew these high school captains over time, over every tournament. Obviously, putting some things out on social media like, hey, if you're in a high school, you don't have a club yet, reach out, we'll help you get all that going. And so we just had a group chat, and we had just added captain after captain, and we just maxed out our iMessage group chat, so we had to move over to GroupMe. So we've got about 40 high school captains just right here in Utah, just working with their clubs and growing them. And that's a big thing with, it's using the different marketing tools you've got. You've got social media, but then we've got text messages. You got club leaders you can use. Once the Spikeball app gets up and running, that's been a huge tool for me.
Just run like tournaments.
Just to put whatever. The games in there, and you got to tell everyone, download the Spikeball app, because it's such an easy way. You put your tournament in there, you put your pickup game in there, and everyone around now knows exactly where to go.
Pickup, address, whatever. Yeah.
Tournaments have been easy to run without it, because I have a list of emails and phone numbers that I can shoot out texts to and emails to. But pickups have honestly been very difficult, because people are like, is it happening? Like, we've put out a couple organized pickups, but
not in the Spikeball app.
Not in the app. Yeah,
right.
Like saying, okay, these are Utah Roundnet organized pickups, and put that out on our Instagram. And we've had good pickups, but I mean, certainly nothing like it was when we had the app. But
right.
Yeah, I mean, it's just using those different channels, and club leaders, as far as high school goes, club leaders and college are just huge.
Yeah. I mean, and also I think it's just the mass quantity of events that you run at this point. Just out of curiosity, how many events? Like, I know Corona obviously put kind of a dead spot in your schedule,
right?
But even with it, 2 months off, 3 months off, how many tournaments do you see yourself running this year? Just for everyone to know how many tournaments
we had before Corona hit. We had, including our high school season, 37 planned, and probably I think since then, since Corona hit and we canceled a few, got a few rescheduled, and then had a couple more. So I think this year we would have hit 40 regardless, and we still might. I mean, I've only lost.
I see this.
I've only lost out on a couple so far that I haven't been able to get rescheduled, and we're working on things. So I mean, I've had 3 a week since Corona. Since we here in Utah were able to get back from coronavirus, which was 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. That's just I remember when you brought down the schedule the first day and posted it up, and it's like tourney. And then, like this week we had like 2 high school tournaments, one on Friday and then one on Saturday.
I had events.
I think we had 4 this week.
Tuesday through 4 this week, plus your clinic was 5.
Yeah, which is absolutely ridiculous, but.
And a terrible idea on my part. That is awful to do a Friday night tournament with a giant Saturday. Oh, that was a disaster.
Well, no, you scheduled it, and you had a decent little turnout. I mean,
yeah. Well, no, I'm not. I'm saying for me, I was up till 3 a.m. that night before prepping.
The amount of tournaments blows my mind. Because for me, I mean, just being in Santa Barbara, it's a decent size community. You see people playing all the time, but the tournament is like official. True people who play and are pursuing it in any slight degree is, few and far between. You have like 6 of us, and we're like, hoorah.
Go hung.
But yeah. Anyway, enough about all this tournament stuff. About you, do you have any hopes, dreams, aspirations in the Roundnet world that you're like, I want to play with so-and-so? I want to get, are you premier right now?
I'm not. So I've gotten a 4th and a 5th.
Because Ryder.
There's this one jerk
who
beat me in West Regionals. There was a questionable call at the end, but it wouldn't have made a difference after all was said and done.
Just for background real quick, this was Ryder's first ever tournament. This was like a month and a half playing. Ryder was brand new. He's playing with Cade.
You don't have to make me feel bad.
No.
Say, Ryder was a newbie and you still lost to him.
No, but he also had Cade, who'd been playing for like a year and a half or so.
At that point, Cade was the stronger player.
I'm going to put out there and say, Cade, no hate on your Utah. I mean, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. Because I think Caleb is phenomenal. I think he might be overall, skills-wise, better. But because Cade has been playing with me, Ryder Jarrett, he's more mature player, and he has some extra depth to his game. I would say Cade.
He's still in high school?
He's still in high school.
Okay.
He's what, 17? 17?
Okay.
I'd say if Caleb was the best player in the nation, high school-wise, I would argue Cade's the best player in the nation.
I remember.
And Cade, don't get too excited if you're watching this, but
Cade was phenomenal. I mean, he had some step out cuts that we're just geez.
He's only gotten better since months ago.
I mean, it was on the sand. Who knows if he was serving close or not?
Well, trust me, I think he's close occasionally too. But anyway, let's go into a quick little segment here. Roundnet, random ragamaroo. I'm going to throw questions
I like
at
ragamaroos.
you. Ragamaroos, exactly.
Yeah.
They're going to have no anything to do with anything. It's my mind to your ears, out your mouth.
Out my mouth.
Right.
Okay.
Pop, boom, bam. When was the last time you shaved your beard? Like
fully. Ooh.
Like had this much hair on your face?
Mother's Day probably 5 or 6 years ago.
Okay, second question. Does your mom hate your beard?
My mom?
Well,
wife.
sorry. Your wife. Mother's Day wife.
She she doesn't like it shaven because I look baby faced.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not great for kissing, so it's a balance. She doesn't like
Pro tip.
So for years I just kind of had like a there's probably too much information for this little blog. Quick, it was supposed to be a quick boom bam boom.
It was supposed to be, but it's already going longer. Apparently,
it was shorter before, and lately I've grown it out long. So let's put it that way.
Would you rather step on 100 grapes or 12 caterpillars barefoot?
100 grapes.
Really?
Grapes are grapes? Would they hurt your feet?
No, I was just wondering. Frozen grapes. No, that's a dumb question. Grapes over caterpillars.
Yeah,
okay, it wasn't the best question. Would you rather play a whole entire Roundnet tournament wearing slippers or clown shoes?
Slippers.
And I'm talking like super nice, soft slippers, not like those rugged outdoor ones.
No, slippers.
Slippers?
Yeah. Still comfy.
Still comfy.
I mean, you at least,
Imagine the foot ups with clown shoes or foot blocks.
Foot blocks. See, so I bet that question with Fitzy was a little different now, wasn't it?
I didn't ask him that. No, these are questions I'm coming up with on the spot. We got time for like one or two more. Someone asked me this question, and I had a ridiculous answer in my mind, but it's coming to mind. If HTR stayed for something else, what would it mean?
Oh, I heard that question.
Yeah, because in my mind it was terrible.
Yeah.
But I just saw it out of the corner of my eye, and I was like, what? Just real quick. You got like 5 seconds. Like 5, 4, 3.
Hit the return.
I thought you were going to say hit the rim. I was like, that's exactly what Roundnet's about. Hit the return. Okay, last question. I was going to say superpower, but like I feel like everyone chooses some crazy obvious superpower. If you could Oh, no, that's a terrible question. I don't know. I honestly don't really have too much. Would you rather eat a whole entire tube of toothpaste or not eat for 2 days?
Can it be children's toothpaste?
No, it has to be adult Colgate, big old long toothpaste.
Not eat for
2 days. You got down the
I'll
whole
go
thing.
toothpaste. I'm gonna get it down real quick. I'm gonna eat that toothpaste, and then go wash it down with something else and enjoy my next 2 days.
Okie dokie. Well, that was the Roundnet random ragamaroo. Anything before we finish up? Questions for me? Questions for you?
No. I did have a question. Okay, so you play games of all sorts, and you make up games. How do you come up with like Yeet spike?
Yeet spike?
Yeet spike.
Ooh,
like all these other like just how do you just come up, oh, we're gonna play this and these are gonna be the rules? Like, how do you do that?
Well, it's actually funny. We were talking today. We were playing Yeet Spike for like 2.5 hours, and we came up with it briefly yesterday, but kind of put it on hold till today. I wish we filmed the behind the scenes, and I'm sure a lot of people out there, when they come up with different games, can relate, and maybe you do as well. I mean, it's just like trial and error, but just on a very hyper accelerated path. And like I remember we were serving, and at first we were able to cross onto the other side and hit wherever the heck we wanted. We were like, okay, well, that's OP. Like, how hitting is around it.
Yep.
It's like too much freedom. So we're like, okay, you can't cross it. And we still had the net on at that point. And I mean, you just gradually, see what's what. And for me, it's like there has to be balance. I mean, with all games, I mean.
Right.
Even like making board games. I mean, there's like, a whole textbook on making games at this point, and just millions and millions of hours that go into thinking to make sure it's even. But just making games in general, for me, it's just like you just start with any basic concept. It could be, again, I'm looking at a slipper over there. I mean, it could be, making a pistachio in a slipper, but then it's like, well, what if you make a pistachio in the slipper off the wall? And just like you keep adding depth to it and just trying things out. I mean, like for me, obviously, I'm big, pro of changing Roundnet for the future and whatever. Right. But same as I think with Yeet Spike, it's like it's like, no, but it's like we at first like, oh, don't hit too hard. But then I was like, okay, everyone's good enough at this point to where we can just yeet it as hard as we want. What surfaces are good, what surfaces are bad. I mean, you just kind of.
And then you put a blanket on the table.
Well, so then I was like, well, the net A is going to break. So I was like, we need to find something to replace that. Put the blanket.
Appreciate it, by the way.
Right. Put the blanket on the table. It's a perfect like dead zone. It's a perfect material like this. If you hit it, it marks it and shows it, which is something for potential spike ball to look into. Honestly, if you put something like this that changed, based off how you hit it, and it was so clear that I was like, oh, that was rim, it'd be mind blowing. Obviously, I don't think it really worked that well, but it makes a different sound, all that sort of stuff. Plus, it put a barrier of where we could hit. And then in terms of like outside rules, hitting off the wall that hits back and hits the blanket is actually a kill, whatever. That's just trial and error. I mean, It doesn't happen often, but you have to label it a rule or something. But I mean, I don't know. I've made millions and trillions of games over the course of my life, and it's just, I think for me, it's just like, I think any idea is a good idea until it's proven to be dumb.
Right.
And I've had a lot of dumb ideas. But Yeet Spike was a pretty good idea. And I can't take full credit with it. I was playing with a bunch of dudes, and we're just like constantly throwing out ideas. But you just run with, ideas until they're dumb. Sweet. And maybe when they are dumb, they're still fun, Right. But yeah, that's kind of where my head's at with everything like that.
I'd have to say a big disappointment that I've had in myself now that we have the Spike House is that I never actually created that Monopoly board for us all to play.
Oh yeah, we could.
That would have been.
And we could
so
have had
great.
all the actual players play on it.
Yeah. How great would that have been?
Like we could have had Anchored, Fitzy. We could have had Drippy, Clark.
Yeah.
We could have had a bunch of people playing on it. But it's never too late.
Hey, we could draw something.
I mean, this
out.
whole Spike House thing was just an idea, and then like we were like, I'm gonna call everybody, and we did it.
But no, going back to the very beginning where you said, realizing what Utah is, and that was a big part of why I wanted to do this. I wanted all you pro players to realize, and then obviously share with everyone, like, wow, Utah isn't just like, some dude that puts on a bunch of, tournaments, but I wanted you guys to see just how great our community is, and, that we're putting on, I mean, I think tour stop quality tournaments, and just how awesome the community is.
They
I know
have thunder, they have lightning, they have rain,
oh
hail.
yeah.
It's
Okay,
phenomenal.
you don't gotta. Yeah, thanks for only sharing those out on Instagram, by the way. But I was just super excited just for you guys to kind of see what we're really doing here, and hopefully that encourages others across the world to keep growing. Like I mentioned, I have people reach out all the time. Asking for advice, and always happy to help people with whatever limited time I've got. But it's just as everyone grows, helps me and everyone else grow even more. So
cool. Well, speaking of limited time, I think
There
we're
we are.
over our time quota. But thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you for hosting us all. Thank you for having this all happen. I'm happy to have come here and check out Roundnet and the whole Utah scene in general. But as far as today's podcast goes, thank you for joining us. Thanks for hanging. And make sure to like, share, subscribe. Let us know what you want, as well as how to Roundnet. I know you also have a few pages. If you want to, I mean, I could shout it out, but I'm happy for you to shout it out.
All of them at Utah Roundnet, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I think that's Twitter. We don't have a whole lot of following there, but I know one thing, especially with tournaments coming up, people want us to live stream. We need 1,000 followers on our YouTube, or 1,000 subscribers, so that we can do mobile live stream. So please go subscribe to Utah Roundnet on our YouTube if you want to see some more live streams.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I was getting tips from
I
behind
know,
the camera.
director down there.
Yeah. Link will be in the description for Utah, for Instagram, for all that fun stuff. Make sure to give them a follow. Honestly, all you can do is just hit that subscribe button. Doesn't do anything against you, whether it be How to Roundnet, whether it be Utah. But in his case, you get him to 1,000 followers or subscribers, and then you get to live stream.
Yeah,
we get more Roundnet content.
We've got about 15 videos from yesterday that are going to be uploaded. But how great would it have been to have them all go up live? Even better.
It would have been even better.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all we got for you. Thank you for tuning in. Till next time, comment what you feel, comment what you like. That's all we got for you today. Preston and Taylor out.
Yeah.
I was going to say 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Yeah.